salakaya chakshurun militam jena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Punaman Supari Prajakacharya Ashtottara Satashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Maharaj Hari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kundratha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai. Navadip Tham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hey, Hari Bol, thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu, for leading Kirtan, and welcome to everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Friday, July 21st, 2023. We are reading in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 21, tonight, starting with text number 13. And glad you could join us, Maharaj, even from a moving vehicle. And looking forward to hearing everyone's questions and comments tonight. And if you'd like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, that will also be welcome. So thank you so much, and thank you, Maharaj.
And thank you, Kendra Prabhu. Let me just change my settings. Is that better on the background noise?
Much better.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasachaham Parivodikamaha Samana Shila Prihameta Teva Eva Seshamulam Rashaya Kama Vipasya. Therefore, desiring to marry a girl of like disposition, who may prove to be a veritable cow of plenty in my married life, to satisfy my lustful desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of everything. For you are like a desire tree. Purport. In spite of his condemning persons who approach the Lord for material advantages, Karta Muni expressed his material inability and desire before the Lord by saying, although I know that nothing material should be asked from you, I nevertheless desire to marry a girl of like disposition. The phrase like disposition is very significant. Formerly, boys and girls of similar dispositions married. Similar natures of the boy and girl united in order to make them. Not more than 25 years ago, and perhaps it is still current. Parents in India see whether there would be actual in their psychological conditions. These considerations are very important. Nowadays, marriage takes place without such consultation, and therefore, soon after the marriage, husband and wife used to live together peacefully throughout their whole lives. Nowadays, it's very
Gurudev.
Good day, I'm not hearing anything.
You're dropping out, Maharaj.
Okay, let's see if I can improve things.
Now you sound okay.
Let's see what I can.
Gurudev, I think your original audio settings we're better, even though we get a little road noise.
First, we'll up the input volume a little
Yeah,
bit.
much better.
Is that good now?
Yes.
So maybe I don't have to do more than that, just give you more volume.
Oh, now you're fading.
Now I'm fading again. Okay, let's see what I can do.
And now you're good.
Now I'm good, then I'm bad. Okay, let's,
Maybe the original audio settings, Gurudev, that you had, even with the road noise, it sounded better.
go in the middle with the audio settings.
Maharaj, can you read the chat?
Oh, okay, I skipped 14. Okay, now we've got medium settings, and how are we doing on the sound?
Sounds okay.
Okay, so let's go back to 14, which we skipped. Yes, okay.
Did we already read 13?
We're going backwards now to 14. Because I skipped it. Ye mayate hatane sastra adharavindam aksindodam asate kama vayate sham shisha kaman yepi yesu. Now you can find out about condemning. Are the true vessel to take one across the ocean of mundane meshes. Only persons deprived of their intelligence, self polluting energy, will worship those feet with a view to attain the trivial and momentary pleasures of the senses, which even persons rotting in hell. However, O my Lord, you are so kind that you bestow mercy even upon them. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, there are two kinds of devotees. Those who desire material pleasures and those who desire nothing but service to the Lord. Material pleasures can be attained even by hogs and dogs, whose condition of life is hellish. Hog also eats, sleeps, and enjoys sex life to the full extent. And it's also very satisfied with such hellish enjoyment of material existence. Modern yogis advise that because one has senses, one must enjoy to the fullest extent, like cats and dogs. Yet one can go on and practice yoga. This is condemned here by Bhagavatam. He says that such material pleasures are available for cats and dogs in a hellish condition. The Lord is so kind that his so-called yogis are satisfied by hellish pleasures. He can give them facilities to all material pleasures they desire. They cannot attain the perfectional stage attained by Karma. Sadvaitam Sadvaitam Sekam Krishna Krishna Bhaktam Well, I've got, I don't know if I can still be heard. Let's see. Because maybe I should try this. Give me one moment to try. I may have to connect to my phone.
I think the phone may work better.
Am I good? Can you hear?
You're really going in and out, Maharaj. Every couple of seconds.
License will help. Moment or so. Coming up.
The sound was best at the very beginning, but maybe it wouldn't be better now, but it was best at the very beginning before any changes were made to the sound settings.
We seem to have lost Maharaj momentarily.
He may be signing in from his phone.
I personally am amazed at Maharaj's dedication to this class.
I know.
It's completely amazing.
Is this better?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we'll continue with that. Meanwhile, we frozen my screen on my laptop, so that's much fun. And I'll have to restart that next again. So I'll have some. But Cardamone is condemning those who approach the speed of the sword for material benefit. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavatam, Arj, Jayadvaita, there are those who approach Krishna for some material benefit. They're also counted as Sukriti, or pious person, fortunate person. But they're not as fortunate as those who come to the Lord simply for pure devotional service. now that we all of my database. So ye maya te hatametasa. They're described as hatametasa, deprived of intelligence. Kamai Saister Kritigana, Pajante Yadevasa. If you're getting sound effects, it's all the benefit of the highway between Atlanta and Marietta combined with a full-on downpour of rain. So, Hatametasa, Kamai Saister Kritigana, Pajante Yadevasa. Those who approach other devatas are described as bereft of intelligence. And here, Kardamuni also describes those who approach the Lord for material benefits as Hatametasa. As you know from the next verse, kind of a spoiler, he's condemning such persons, of whom he considers himself one. Padadavindam, Bhavasindhu, Potam. The Lord's Padadavinda, his lotus feet, are the pota, the boat, for crossing Bhavasindhu, the ocean of material birth and death. Upasate Kamalavaya Tesha. They approach the Lord, worship the Lord, Kamalavaya, just to get a moment's sense gratification. Lava means just for a moment. For a moment's pleasure, they worship the Lord. Kama, Niraye, for pleasures that are available even in hell. Even the cats and dogs can enjoy material pleasure. So if someone approaches Pardon me, he says they're going for something trivial, momentary, and even hellish. Hellish and demoniac persons do not actually know what is the ultimate attainment in perfection. Therefore, they think that sense gratification is the highest goal of life. They advise that one can satisfy the senses and at the same time, by reciting some mantra and by some practice, can chiefly aspire for perfection. Such persons are described here as hatametasa, which means those whose brains are spoiled. They aspire for material enjoyment by perfection of yoga or meditation. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated by the Lord that the intelligence of those who worship the demigod has been spoiled. Similarly, here too it is stated by Kardamuni that one who aspires after material enjoyment by practice of yoga has spoiled his brain substance and is fool number one. Actually, the intelligent practitioner of yoga should aspire for nothing else but to cross over the ocean of passions by worshiping the personality of Godhead and to see the lotus feet. The Lord is so kind, however, that even today, persons whose brain substance is spoiled are given the benediction to become cats, dogs, or hogs and enjoy material happiness from sex life and sense gratification. The Lord confirms this benediction in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever a person aspires to receive from me, I offer him as he desires. So, first question is, are we okay on sound? Or is it okay?
It's better.
Better?
Better
should I
than-
carry on or should I hand it over?
Please carry on. It's a little marginal, but it's better than anything else.
Okay. So the hellish and demoniac person, Niraya means hell, hellish person. And Prabhupada refers to the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There it said, Kamopabhoga Parama, Etavan, the demonic person think that Kama and Bhoga, sense enjoyment, are the highest goal of life. This is what they've attained, what they've ascertained to be the perfection of life. Kamopabhoga Parama. Sense gratification and satisfaction of their lustful desires. So here Prabhupada says that they think that, of course, back in the 1960s, 70s, there was some kind of meditation where it was advertised that you chant this mantra and you can do whatever you like and you'll be a meditator and you'll be on the transcendental platform. And Prabhupada's clear that this is for persons who are hatamadasa, or deprived of intelligence, that is to say, fools. They're the only ones who would be that. Well, we're quite in the pool here.
That's why you want to take the exact, because it can be a place of pride.
Okay, it means we just have to go slow. Huh? Okay, we're deep in the Mississippi here. All right, and of course I can't read what's in the chat box here, so maybe you can fill me in.
I took the exact, just find the place from that side.
Saraswati has a comment in the chat box. If she wants to read it, she can, or I can read it for her.
I can plug it in.
Yeah.
Who's put it there?
Tell me.
Saraswati has a comment in the chat box. If she likes, I can read it for her, unless she wants to read it herself.
You all decide.
Okay. I'll read it then. She offers her pranams. She says, we learn of the two types of devotees, those who have material desires and those who have no material desires at all and have pure love of God. Earlier, we read Kardama Muni reached this highest perfection in yoga and attained pure devotional service and saw the Lord face to face. However, he will ask for something he states is material. So how to understand how he still has material desires despite attaining pure love of God? This is confusing. Is it Yoga Maya acting on him since the Muni is to have the Lord as his son?
Okay, I missed a little of the middle there just because we were in some material transitions here. Is it Yoga Maya? Give me the beginning again.
Okay, there are devotees who have material desires and devotees who have no material desires at all and have pure love of God. So Kardama Muni reached the stage of no material desires or pure devotional service and saw the Lord face to face. However, he asked for something.
Therefore, it's Yoga Maya. Without his having some desire, how will Lord Kapila Dev appear? Now, I don't have open, although I suppose I could. Baladev and Vishnu's commentary. I did have it open, but then things changed around here. So that happened. Let's see. Okay, I do have it, but let's see if I can get to the right place. Three. This verse, he doesn't comment on it. But, hold on one second. Yeah, okay. The give me one moment. There's just too many things going on at once. Yeah. It appears to be yoga maya. That would be what I would understand from it. This not doesn't tell us. Okay. Yeah, I think that's more later. But yes, I would venture to say one. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yes, Maharaj from Panchatattva Prabhu.
My question is, isn't Kardama Muni also a Prajapati, and therefore charged with the responsibility of creating progeny? In other words, he's describing himself as subject to material desire, but although that may be true, he's also got his duty to fulfill.
Yes, that's also true. He's been asked to. It's not that he independently thought of marrying and having children. He was requested to do that. So it may be, from another point of view, taken to be his humility that he presents himself as having some material desire, whether out of humility or to instruct us. That's also another possible point of view. Yes. Okay. Something else?
Maharaj,
Yes.
as you were reading that part about that even those rotting in hell can attain pleasures, it reminded me of, I was wondering, how is that possible if people are in hell, how they can enjoy pleasures? But then I was remembering the example, it's in C.C. Madhya Lila. It says, in the material condition, the living entity is sometimes raised to higher planetary systems and material prosperity, and sometimes drowned in a hellish situation. His state is exactly like that of a criminal whom a king punishes by submerging him in water and then raising him again from the water. So I was thinking maybe that's the hellish condition, because I wasn't sure how you can be enjoying pleasures in hell.
Yeah, you get that one moment, that one breath. So that's your pleasure in the material world. There's a passage in Solzhenitsyn's book, Gulag Archipelago, where he's talking about the life in the gulags, in the labor camps and detention camps of the former Soviet Union. And in the particular passage, he was talking about a problem that the administration had, that the women would keep getting pregnant. And they had a fence between the men's side and the women's side. but the women were getting pregnant. They made the fence bigger. They made it, stronger. Still, the women were getting pregnant. So there you are in this hellish environment, essentially a torturous condition, and still having sex. Still going through great difficulty, it must have been, to enjoy sex pleasure. So, as stated, the seeking hellish pleasure, or seeking the pleasure of material sense gratification, even in the midst of a hellish life. For that matter, you take places like New York City and or anywhere, they're hellish, but if there's sex, then it's not so bad. Then it's not so bad.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anything else? Mhm.
I had a follow-up to that. I was just thinking about in gardening, when plants are stressed, they go into the flowering and fruiting stage sometimes faster. And when they're environmentally stressed, and I'm wondering, maybe that's why we're so sex crazy in our culture, because we're perpetually stressed.
Yeah, that also. Stress means passion. We're trying to enjoy, and then we're frustrated, and then this and that. And passion means there'll be sex. So the whole environment is full of that, instead of transcendental pleasure or the satisfaction of self-realization. People are simply look.
You froze, Maharaj. Or maybe I froze.
No, you're okay.
Perhaps Maharaj will establish a new connection.
Okay, I thought it was me. He's signed out, right?
He's not on the screen right now.
He's off Zoom right now.
Did he arrive at his destination?
I think he'd let us know. I just think he's lost it. Oh,
There he is.
Yeah, sorry, our network went out. Okay, so where are we, and where are we?
There's a comment from Praveen in the chat box.
Yes.
Says, we see that Daksha also had the darshan of the Lord, and he was also ordered to have progeny. He wouldn't be a pure devotee, having offended Narada Muni.
Right. He's continually characterized as having material desires. So it appears that even those who have material desires, by Krishna's arrangement, are allowed to have the darshan of the Lord for some particular purpose. Even Kamsa was allowed to see the Lord, the Lord's desire. What to speak of those who are mixed devotees. Well, since I have Vishwanath's purport in front of me, we can read it. Oh, people worship you, the ocean of mercy, for fulfilling material desires. This is their foolishness. Those who've lost intelligence because of your Maya, only those and no others worship you to attain just a particle of pleasure. But you give rasi, you give them those pleasures profusely, though you are reluctant. If you did not do so, they, not knowing the happiness of bhakti, would quickly give up devotion to you. You do so, hoping that by not giving up bhakti for some time, they will lose those desires. Fulfilling those desires is not your final intention, since those desires for sons, wife, family, and wealth will lead them to hellish birth. However, since there's a rule that karmas lead to heaven or hell, but that enjoyment given by you does not generate such karmas, those desires do not really lead to bondage. Thus, in reality, the meaning of the words heaven and hell does not apply in this case. However, because of similar results, it's stated here. So, some interesting points that the Lord doesn't really want to give material benedictions, but he does so just so that the mixed devotees will stay on the path of devotional service, with the hope that they'll eventually give up these desires. And then it's said that karma will lead to heaven or hell, but in this case, because the results are given by the Lord, it's not counted in the category of karma, but it looks the same. You still get hellish life, that is to say, a little particle of material enjoyment. And for that, one has to undergo so much trouble. Okay. Something else? Okay. So now we're back to the next verse. Tata sachaham paribodhu kamaha samana shilam grihameta denum upeivan mulam shesha mulam durashaya kama dukhangripasya. And little thing is so sensitive. Let's get it back this page. Yeah. Therefore, desiring to marry a girl of like disposition may prove to be a veritable cow of plenty in my married life. To satisfy my lustful desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of everything. For you are like a desire tree. So, Prabhupada comments, as we read before, that previously great care was taken in marriages to see that the boy and girl would be samana shila, similar in their dispositions. It's a great science or great art to put together a boy and girl of like dispositions so that their marriage will be happy, so that they'll get along, so that they can cooperatively carry out their program for happiness, whether material happiness, spiritual happiness. They're meant to cooperate. So for cooperation, we need, even in ordinary affairs, if we're in a team of some sort,
we want to work with people who we get along with, who have similar dispositions. Smart people want to work with other smart people. Gentle people want to work with other gentle people. Competitive, highly competitive people enjoy working with other highly competitive people. So, and then what to speak of a marital relationship? There should be compatibility. So for this purpose, the astrologers were consulted. And here Srila Prabhupada apparently or tacitly endorses consultation of the horoscope. He says these considerations are very, very important. And for lack of such consultation, we have divorce and separation. So we're not very much interested in astrology and all sorts of gem wearing and yagya doing and this, that. Our program is to chant Hare Krishna. But for certain purposes, the astrologer would customarily be consulted for marriage compatibility in particular. The astrologer comes in. Similarly, at the birth of the child, the astrologer would be consulted. So, and the first consideration, there's a divine nature and a demonic nature. Divine girls should marry divine boys. Demonic boys should marry demonic girls. And then they'll be happy. At least they'll be compatible. The demons will be married to one another, and they'll feel like, yes, I got the girl of my dreams. I got the man of my dreams. But a demonic husband and a divine wife, or vice versa, will find their life problematic. So that was the first consideration. They should both be devotees, or they should both be non-devotees, but they should be samanashila. They should be of the same nature. Of course, we depend on transcending everything by chanting Hare Krishna. But at the same time, this is a material arrangement. Marriage means there's some material attraction. So the material considerations should be taken into account very carefully. And for that reason, the worst people to decide who should marry whom are the boy and girl themselves, because they'll simply go by sentiment, attraction, generally speaking, by sentiment, by attraction, and later become frustrated and disappointed. So Prabhupada points these things out. Any questions or comments about that?
Maharaj,
Yes?
it seems that since people no longer, well, at least in Western culture, they don't consult astrologers. What the astrology does, if you're, there's no long engagements in these, Vedic arrangements of marriage. It's like you consult the astrologer, and the parents size up the bride and groom, prospective bride and groom, and that's enough information to go forward with a marriage. Whereas now people are, they spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years in an engagement, and then a lot of people, they have long engagements, and then within 2, 3 years after they get married, they're still getting divorces because they don't feel like they knew the person well enough until they married them.
Yeah, they have long engagements and short marriages. Yes. And Panchatattva says there's another problem, that astrologers are mostly humbug now. That's also true. There can be so many trying to find a good wife or a good husband. Even finding a good astrologer is difficult. So that's also problematic. And of course, it wasn't just astrology. The parents would consider so many things: the quality of the family, the health of the boy, the health of the girl, the earning power of the boy, is the girl a good cook, so many things they would take into account, not just a sentiment, oh, such a nice boy. But very scrutinizingly, they would see to it that the match was suitable, so that the boy and girl would be happy. And yes, astrology was important in that regard, and therefore good astrologers were valued. Anything else there? Danu is a wish-fulfilling cow. Well, okay, I can't read it because it only comes on and disappears. Would you like to help me out here? What comment comes next?
Danu is a
Hello.
wish-fulfilling cow, like wish-fulfilling tree. Cardamom Muni needed a Danu even if the Lord's feet is also wish-fulfilling?
Yes. Otherwise, why are you getting if the Lord is totally wish-fulfilling, then why are you getting a wife? Why are you getting a wife? Just go to the lotus feet of the Lord. But he's going to the lotus feet of the Lord to get a wife, so then the wife should be Danu, a wish-fulfilling wife. It's sometimes also these poetic devices, according to Sanskrit convention, differ from what we might consider suitable poetic examples. But this is what would you say, almost a conventional figure, like a cow of plenty, like a Surabhi cow. In the Bible, I don't quote the Bible much, but I think in Proverbs, yes, Proverbs, there's a sort of extended, not very extended, but briefly extended description of a suitable wife and also a suitable mother. And the virtues of a good wife are extolled there, how she's dutiful and attentive and affectionate and so on. So there's different qualities, there are wives who are lazy and quarrelsome and disagreeable and so on. And then there's a wife who's always attentive, always dutiful, always helpful, clever, pleasant. So he's not going to pray, please send me a witch. He's praying, please send me a suitable wife. A wife will be helpful in fulfillment of my household duties. A wife will yield suitable children, and so on. Okay, there was another comment there.
Yes, Gurudev, I just commented that just getting the son in reference to helping guide one's son or daughter in marriage, that just getting them to respect the advice of parents is problematic. Everyone wants to do the right thing.
Well, that's partly, yes, that's true as Kali Yuga goes on. And it's also partly due to the notion that boys and girls should get married in what we would consider a late age. This particular form of madness has become the norm in the Indian community. They've somehow been convinced by the illusory energy of the Lord that a girl should first complete her education, that she should and start her career, and then we should see about marriage. So that's roughly the age of 24, maybe 27, ideally like about 24, which is roughly 10 years too late. according to Vedic calculation. Or why Vedic calculation? According to biology, 24-year-old boy is a kid, but a 14-year-old boy is a kid, but a 14-year-old girl is a woman. Prabhupada mentions that his wife had her first child when she was 14. So just biologically speaking, by 14, 15, a girl is a woman with the desires of a woman, with everything that goes with being a woman. And the modern outlook says, well, just put all that on hold or keep it in some sort of acceptable dimension while you focus on your studies and go to college and start your career. And while that's going on, of course, you're chaste as ice. You're a regular Draupadi or Mandodari or so on. And somehow the illusion is going on, often it's illusion, that the daughter really is a chaste girl through her until she's 27. Or it's simply accepted that she's not. And then at 25, 24, 20, 28, we're going to choose a husband for her. By that time, she's has a mind of her own, a will of her own, maybe a lot of experience of her own. And we're going to tell her, here's your husband. That doesn't work. When the Vedic system, the girls would be married at an early age and they'd have no anxiety. Where's my husband? They wouldn't have to market themselves. They wouldn't be targeted by their classmate boys. And so they, that side of their life would be settled up. That side of their life would be settled up. But how do you get, how does the father expect that the girl will simply follow his sagacious guidance? When first of all, he's been a fool because he's allowed things to be 10 years late. And second of all, she has a will of her own. And it's foolishness.
Maharaj, could I make a follow-up comment?
Yes.
And I don't mean to digress or go off in a different direction, but since it is regarding marriage and young people getting married, I remember reading, and I think it's a fairly sound argument, even though the reasoning, the reasons for it may be not spiritual, but I remember a nice analysis that until like the Carter administration, in terms of timelines, it was quite feasible for a single breadwinner, in other words, the man of the husband, the man of the family, to provide for the family. And after that, things started getting harder and harder and harder. And now, for an ordinary family, both parents have to go out and make a living just to be able to meet their expenditures, their basic expenditures. So that's part of the pressure that's on young people. They realize that if they're going to have any sort of marriage, they've both got to go out and work. And that leads to them both going for their education.
Well, there's two things there. One is I saw a different set of statistics, which seemed to indicate that back in the old days, whenever those were, if a man and wife were both working, it was because they were poor. And now if a boy and girl are both working, it's because they have to meet their expenses to uphold their lifestyle. So people, they earn and they spend. It goes on unnecessary necessities. And so he has to work crazy hours, she has to work. And we've talked before about I think the sort of poor logic of the girl working, and how much of what she earns goes to the government and to all the expenses that go along with working. So at the end of the day, she has enough money to pay for childcare. So that's one thing that she's, you have a false sense of how much we really need. Instead of thinking we really need to cut down our expenses, we think we need to have two incomes. So that's one point. The second point is that, and let me see if I don't lose it. Yeah, the father thinks I'd better make sure my daughter has an education just in case her marriage doesn't work out, so that she'll have an independent means of livelihood.
Definitely, that's definitely true.
And that becomes, or is conducive to, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Since the girl has money, she can think about doing whatever she wants. If she likes her husband, she can stay with him. If she doesn't like him, she can shove off and embark upon a new adventure. The husband also knows that, well, if I play around and wind up with someone else, it'll be okay because my wife can take care of herself. So the safety net that we're building for our daughters also becomes a net of entanglement or a trap. That's so it's it's a smart move. We make sure that our daughter has her own means of livelihood, but then it's all right. She has her own means of livelihood. She can live independently and be miserable. So these strategies I've mentioned in the Bhagavatam, that Prahlad Maharaj says that the solutions that we create for material problems wind up creating a still greater burden. So these are some of the things. And of course, we can talk on and on about marriages and why they work and why they don't work and this and that, the other thing. This is all on the material platform, but it's meant to be, things are meant to be arranged in such a way that it will be conducive to spiritual progress. That's what the Varnashram system is for. That's what the Vedic system is for. And when we come up with our own ideas, we don't make things better. What is that? Nasa siddhim avapnoti nasukam na paramita. Yeah, we give up the shastric direction, and we don't attain perfection. We don't go back to Godhead, and we don't even get the material happiness that we're looking for. Therefore, shastra vidim tasmat shastra pramante karya karya. Better to act according to shastra. So we didn't finish this purport. We can, I think, come back to it next time. Or it's such a short paragraph. Should we break our rules and go another minute or two?
Right.
I think we do that.
There's a couple of comments also in the chat box, so I don't know if you wanted to leave it for tomorrow, then we can take those comments.
Well, tomorrow doesn't come till next
Oh, right,
week.
Monday, yes.
Let's take the questions and see where we go.
Okay.
I don't guarantee we'll answer them because time is short, but let's at least raise them. Maybe they're comments.
Okay, Saraswati brought up the comment, those with surname Patel are only allowed to marry other Patels, but then the village where the Patel comes from is considered next the street, then the house. Those Patels from 6 villages can only marry another from the other 5 villages. The end result is by the time all this is filtered, there may only be one person left to marry who could be an utter fool.
Yeah, these things are there. I won't throw myself in the middle of that discussion. And go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's another comment from Gurudas. he offers Dandavats. The main thing is compatibility in spiritual life, means both accept Krishna as God and endeavor to carry out the order of the spiritual master. Is intellectual compatibility or compatibility in habits, tastes, backgrounds also important?
Yes. The main thing is that they should both be Krishna conscious, of course. But these other things, why is Prabhupada mentioning it? Otherwise, we could just say, well, are they both devotees? Business finished. And we do that sometimes. And that may be enough. They're both devotees, all right, Krishna will take up the slack, or if they're both strong in Krishna consciousness, that can overcome everything. That's the ultimate consideration of it. Otherwise, Shramevi Kevalam, everything is useless. If they're nicely compatible, but there's no Krishna consciousness, what's the point? But these things are considered. What is their nature, their disposition? Otherwise, Prabhupada would have just said they should both be devotees or they should both be non-devotees. But he speaks here about similar samana shila, having similar natures, similar dispositions. So these things are taken into account. And therefore, it's complicated. The simplest thing is to avoid marriage altogether. It's so much easier. But if we are going to get married, then, or we have been married and we have our sons and daughters, then these are the responsibilities, and they're not so simple. All right, we're 3 minutes over. Why don't we stop here and have some kirtan?
Krishna Kunteya Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Haribol. Very good.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Purnamhansa Parivrajagacharya Ashto Durasati Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavita Ki Jai Namacharya Vidas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Radha Gopinath Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Bhakti Ram Ki Jai Jagannath Ki Jai Rangmani Ki Jai Bhakti Ki Jai Dev Ki Jai Bhakti Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Ki Jai all glory simple all glory all glory Om Prem Nande. Thank you all very much. Apologies for the many meetings. Some call it.
Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you to the driver for taking care of you and getting you there safely.
Adigadadhar.
Okay.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you, Panch. Slipped out in the middle of the night.
No, it was the next day, Gurudev. I came to find you. You're, huh? What's that?
Thank you so much, everyone. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.